What's going on, YouTube? I'm D. Ellis. I want to welcome y'all back to another episode of Crime Circuit. Um, for this video, we're going to be covering the Black Dahlia killer, or also known as George Hodel. Now, before we get into the video, there's going to be a little disclaimer. This is educational purposes only. If you guys are sensitive to rape, murder, things of that nature, I suggest you click out now, and hopefully I'll see you in another video. Alright, let's get into the video. George Hill Hodel Jr., born October 10th, 1907, was an American physician and suspect in the murder of Elizabeth Short, aka the Black Dahlia. Although he was never really formally charged with the crime, he was also accused of raping his own daughter, Tamar Hodel. But he was acquitted for that crime, and he also lived overseas several different times, primarily between 1950 and 1990 in the Philippines. George Hill Hodel Jr. was born October 10th, 1907, and was raised in Los Angeles, California. His parents, George Hodel Sr. and Estelle Hodel, were Russian Jewish ancestry. Their only son, he was well educated and highly intelligent, actually scoring 186 on his IQ test. He was also a musical prodigy. Hodel attended South Pasadena High School and graduated at 15 and entered California Institute of Technology in Pasadena. He was forced to leave the university, though, after 1 year due to a sex scandal involving a professor's wife. He had impregnated the woman and wanted to raise their child together, but she refused. The affair between Hodel and the woman caused her marriage to fall apart. By around 1928, Hodel was in a common law marriage with a woman named Amelia. They had a son, Duncan. In the 1930s, he was legally married to Dorothy Anthony, a fashion model from San Francisco. They had a daughter together named Tamar. Hodel graduated from Berkeley Pre-Med June of 1932. He immediately afterward enrolled into a medical school at University of California, San Francisco, and received his medical degree in 1936. After the success of his medical practice and becoming head of the county's social hygiene bureau, Hodel was moving into a affluent Los Angeles society by the 1940s. He was enamored of the darker side of surrealism and the decadence surrounding the art scene, befriending photographer Man Ray, film director John Huston, and their associates. With Ray and some other surrealists, he shared an interest in sadomasochism with the young men of the Hollywood scene. He shared a fondness for partying, drinking, and womanizing. In 1940, Hodel married Dorothy Harvey, John Huston's ex-wife. He called her Dorero to avoid confusion with his other wife, Dorothy Anthony, at least within their circle, but she was better known as Dorothy Houston Hodel. Hodel purchased the Soden House in 1945 and lived there from 1945 until 1950. The structure, built in 1926 by Lloyd Wright, has since been registered as a Los Angeles historic landmark. Hodel was effectively a polygamist. In the late 1940s, around the time of the deaths of Spalding and Elizabeth Short, Hodel was living with Dorero and their 3 children. His first legal wife, Dorothy Anthony, and their daughter Tamar, and, at times, his original common-law wife Amelia, mother of Hodel's eldest child. He was also prone to taking temporary lovers. A witness later suggested such a relationship between Hodel and Short. Hodel left the United States in March of 1950 for Hawaii, then a U.S. territory. where he married an upper-class Filipino woman, Hortensia Laguda. After another fourth children, they decided in the 1960s she would later be a member of the Philippine Congress of the Hortensia Stark. Hodel returned to the United States in the 1990s. He married legally the fourth time to a woman named June in San Francisco, where he remarried where he remained for the rest of his life until he died in 1999 at the age of 91. Okay, guys, this is where we're gonna get into the murder and the rape of the Black Dahlia, also known as Elizabeth Short. On January 15th, 1947, the naked body of 22-year-old Elizabeth Short was discovered in an empty lot in the Leimert Park neighborhood of Los Angeles. Short has suffered gruesome mutilation, notably her body being cut in half at the waist, as well as her mouth being cut from ear to ear. The case earned major publicity and prompted one of the largest investigations in the history of the LAPD. The case was never solved. However, authorities at the line interviewed hundreds of suspects and focused seriously on about 25, including Hodel. However, suspicion of Hodel was not publicly known until decades later. In late 1949, Hodel's teenage daughter Tamar accused him of sexual abuse and impregnating her. He was acquitted after a widely publicized trial. Two witnesses to the alleged abuse testified at the trial. A third recanted her earlier testimony and refused to come forward, with one being a theory that Hodel threatened her into silence. Tamar's testimony was perceived and contradicted and attention-seeking. Hodel came to police attention as a suspect in Elizabeth Short in 1949 after this sex abuse trial. Known or suspected sex criminals in the area were being investigated for the Short case, and it had come out in the trial that Tamar had allegedly claimed her father was the Black Dahlia killer. Hodel's medical degree also aroused suspicion, given the hypothesis that whoever bisected Short's body had some degree of surgical skill. At least 8 witnesses claimed first-hand knowledge of a 1946 relationship between Short and Hodel, then back in Los Angeles from China. The full details of the investigation came to light only in 2003, when a George Hodel Black Dahlia file was discovered in the archives of LAPD's District Attorney's Office. That specific file revealed that in 1950, Hodel was a suspect of the Dahlia murder. His Hollywood residence was electronically bugged by an 18-year-old man of the DA LAPD task force between February 15th and March 27th of 1950. The DA tapes recorded him saying, "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia, they can't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary anymore because she's dead. They thought they were something fishy. Anyway, now they have figured it out. Killed her. Maybe I did kill my secretary." Hodel was also interviewed as a suspect in the nearby June 1945 murder of Louise Springer, also known as the Green Twig murder, though evidence to support this accusation was not publicly available until July of 2018. Now, in October of 1949, Hodel's name was mentioned in a formal written report to the grand jury as one of the prime suspects in the Short murder. but none of the named suspects were submitted to the grand jury for consideration for indictment, as the investigation was still ongoing. Hodel obtained a degree in psychiatry and counseled prisoners in the Territorial Prison of Hawaii for 3 years, then moved to the Philippines, where he started a new family and appears to have remained until 1990, finally dying in 1999 in San Francisco without charges ever being filed. However, his son Steve has written that he believes Hodel re-entered the United States multiple times each year from 1958 through the 1988, and specifically in 1966 through 1969 to commit more murders, and then he returned to the Philippines. All right, y'all, that's going to conclude this episode of Crime Circuit. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure you guys like, share, comment, subscribe. I just want to appreciate y'all. I know this is the beginning stages of this channel. I just want to appreciate y'all. I'm going to get better with it, and the further along, I'm going to buy better equipment, have my own studio and stuff like that. So once again, man, I want to say I appreciate y'all. Make sure you guys like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm D. Ellis, and this is another episode of Crime Circuit.